I think it's going, hopefully. And all right.
I think that it is, yes.
Okay.
All right. Welcome. Welcome to all the parents and students, if there are some students online as well.
Alrighty, hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and thanks for your patience as we waited for some more folks to log on. Welcome to the summer webinar series from New Student and Family Programs. My name is Kendall Adams, and I'm one of the student coordinators for NSFP. Just a little bit of what our office does here at Gonzaga. We handle the outreach between new students coming to Gonzaga and their families. And so we do things like new student orientation, like we've been doing over the last few weeks. We handle welcome weekend in August, which is happening in just a few short weeks. And then we also will handle these webinars that will take place up until then. So thank you so much for joining us tonight again. With me, I have Philip Tyler from Campus Security and Public Safety, and he will be talking to you about the measures that we have on Gonzaga's campus. So I'm going to pass it off to him.
Thank you so much, Kendall. First of all, welcome to all of you who took the time out of your busy day, I know, to join us in this webinar this evening. It's so good to have you here. I hope I've met many, if not all, of your students that are coming to our campus during our summer orientation. It was a wonderful time meeting all of them. So I look forward to having an engaging conversation. This is going to be really an organic conversation. I will share with you up front about who I am and what it is we do here on campus to keep your students safe. And then I just want to open it up for some questions from you. I know it's a big step in sending your young student to a campus sometimes far away from you. Save my friend who is from Spokane, Jeanette, but we want to make sure that all of you feel a level of comfort sending your students to Gonzaga University. So I'll start with my name. My name is Phil Tyler. I'm the Associate Director of Campus Security and Public Safety here at Gonzaga. I've been here going on 9 years. Our director, Becky Wilkie, couldn't be with us today. She's out on her birthday week. She's at some milepost-ish on the Coeur d'Alene River, beautiful river, out camping with her husband and our wonder dog we call Reese. But I've been here at Gonzaga, as I said, going on 9 years. Prior to arriving here at Gonzaga, I spent 16 years with Spokane County Sheriff's Office in the jail division. I did various tasks for them, from gang investigator to background investigator to a classification officer. And prior to that, I spent 8 years in the United States Air Force as a law enforcement specialist. I was a SWAT operator, town patrol officer, and a crime prevention education officer. But landing here at Gonzaga is where really I wanted to be. You know, I wanted to work with young men and women. I wanted to make sure that our touch with them was an educational touch, not a touch that's driving them to the criminal justice system. And that's really what we do here at Gonzaga. We want to make sure that they're learning, they're living, and they're working, if they're student workers here on campus, is a safe place for them. So I'll talk about how we do that for your students, and then we can open it up for some questions. We here on Gonzaga's campus, we have a 24-hour, 7 days a week proactive patrol in our marked vehicles. And our officers are out there all the time, day and night, as I said, 24 hours a day, making sure that those persons that are coming to work, study, visit our campus are doing it so in a way it's not disrupting our students or our staff's working or educational environments. We do that on foot patrol also. We're in and out of their residence halls, their academic spaces, their community spaces. And we have a bike patrol system here on our campus. With all transparency, we are fair weather bike riders. We don't ride during the winter as there is snow and ice in the Pacific Northwest, and it could cause injury to our officers. And we don't ride generally during our fire season, which is coming up in August and September, because sometimes the particulates in the air become so dense that it's damaging to our lungs if we're out there doing strenuous activities. And our risk managers really frown on those kind of activities. For your students, we'll also provide what we call Rave Guardian Safety app. It's a wonderful app. If your students haven't talked about it, I would encourage them to download this application. It acts as an emergency blue light in the palm of their hands. If you know what those emergency blue lights are on our college campuses, you'll see those white posts with a blue illuminated light on top of it. We have 35 of those across our beautiful campus here at Gonzaga. It's a one-touch contact to campus security and public safety. But our students came to us some 4 years ago and they said they wanted have own agency in their safety. And so they started investigating some apps that were out there that different universities were using, and they brought this to our attention, and we really thought it was a great idea. Not only does the app provide a one-touch contact for campus security and public safety and 911, but there's a plethora of resources that they can access with just a touch of a finger on their cell phone. So I'd encourage them to download that Rave Guardian application. We have a really wonderful system, what we call a safety escort system here on Gonzaga's campus. That essentially gets your student from one point on our campus to a second point on our campus anytime they don't feel safe or there's some fear element surrounding them. Also, if they're ill, non-ambulatory, so let's say they're on crutches or they've injured a leg or something like that and they can't walk those great distances, we'll provide that escort service for them as well. That escort service also extends into our local neighborhood we call our Logan neighborhood to get them from an off-campus location back into campus safely. So it's a wonderful resource for our students to utilize. We also have what we call a wonderful lost and found system. It's called CrowdFind or Pixit. And really, it works really well. I'll put that app name in the chat, absolutely. That lost and found system works really well because it operates on this system that we call Zags Help Zags. And I hope your students have shared that mantra with you because we take it seriously here at Gonzaga. What it means is that if your student leaves behind some property in some of our academic spaces or a residence hall, let's say, more times than not, a ZAG family member is going to find that item and they're going to turn it into campus security and public safety. And more times than not, we're going to get it back to your student safely. So you're not having to expend funds buying that item for your student again. So really well. We respond to any calls for assistance that occur on our campus. If your student calls, we have an affirmative responsibility to respond to those calls. We will determine whether there's criminality related to the call, whether there's a violation of policy, or whether they just need us to be there to make them have a comfort level in their response to them. We respond to all medical emergencies on campus. We are trained in some advanced first aid techniques. We carry various items with us, such as an AED, tourniquets, Narcan kits, so we can provide that aid to your student. We will call in advanced lifesavers if that situation dictates. Outside of that, we have really good crime prevention resources here on our campus. Those things are safety talk sessions. We have self-defense courses we offer to our Gonzaga family members free of service. We also offer safety assessments when they start to move off of our main campus and out into our neighborhoods. We can do safety assessments of those rental properties they're doing free of charge for our student population. And it helps them to then work with their parents and those landlords to make those needed repairs to keep our students safe when they're in those off-campus areas. We do, unfortunately, parents, we enforce parking 24 hours a day on our campus here. So we do encourage our students to make sure they have campus passes for when they're driving on campus. So their first touch with campus security and public safety isn't a citation. That doesn't really lend to building a great relationship with us. So the campus parking passes are $125 per academic year. But to put that into cost comparison, I had a student that came through on our summer orientation course, and he told us about UNLV, and I hope there's no UNLV parents or alumni on this call, but they were charging our students $800 per semester to park on campus. So $125 for an academic year is really a good cost savings for our students here. Going back to those blue lights I spoke about, those 35 blue lights on our campus, it's a one-touch contact to campus security and public safety for your students. So if they're walking across our beautiful campus and some reason they don't feel safe or they feel anxious about something, they can simply push that button and they'll be put in contact with one of our communication specialists 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our communication specialists, they are not our patrol officers, but they carry a wealth of information and experience they bring to us from both municipalities and from military experience. So they are a great one-touch resource for your students. Also, we want your students to know, and we want you to know this too, we are a resource for your students. We are a resource for you as parents and family members. Please reach out to us if you have some concerns or care. I'll provide my office cell phone number inside this chat as well for you. And please, when I say this, I mean it. Reach out to us if you need anything from us, or if you have some concern about your student. We're surely there to help you and answer all the questions that we can. There might be some questions, obviously, during active investigations or something like that, that we wouldn't be able to answer, but we want to be there and a resource for you, even if that's answering those odd questions that you don't think we would have an answer for. We're pretty talented in getting you to the right resource if we can't answer the question for you. So those are some of the broad services that we provide on campus, but what I really want to do is try to build a relationship with you as a parent, a family member, so you really have trust and some faith in us and my officers that they will be doing the right things for you, sending your students here and for your students that are here with us, depending on what their length of time is. here on campus. So I will open it up while I find that Rave Guardian application link for you for some questions. Oh, those questions can go in the chat function as well.
Are you taking verbal questions as well?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
ma'am, please.
Okay. At the beginning, I think you may have mentioned approximately the size of the security staff, but I missed it.
Well, we don't, for operational security purposes, disclose the total number of officers we have on our team. But our minimum staffing for patrol officers are 3 officers per shift, and we work 3 shifts, day, swing, and night.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Does that help answer your question?
It does.
I'm not trying to be
Yes,
evasive
no.
at all.
And that's really more, that was the answer you gave is really more the question, and the answer I was looking for. So thank
Okay.
you for that.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm gonna put that Rave Guardian application link in the messages here too. Thank you for okay, so let's see here. There's a couple questions. See if I can get to those real quick. The names in there. What are the most common security issues encountered on campus? Great question. The most common issues that we really respond to on campus, and that was from Christine, are really bike theft and vehicle prowl. Obviously, bike theft is a common occurrence on most college campuses around the nation. Gonzaga is not immune to it. And vehicle prowl is simply your student left something in their vehicle, either charging their phone, left a backpack or a box from FedEx or UPS in their car, and someone that's not a Gonzaga community member damages your car, breaks a window, damages a lock to get in and steal their property from them. Those are the 2 most common issues that we encounter on our campus as it relates to campus security. All right, let's see here. Comment on any cyber or Wi-Fi security for students. Absolutely. Yeah, they're required to go through our ITS internet safety course. That's required annually. There's also dual authentication, single sign-on factors for our university here, so they can't be accessed from members outside of our community unless they have a password to do that. And we offer passwords for guests that come to our spaces and all those kind of things. We do try to make students aware during our safety talks in residence halls about the impact of cyber safety on our campus. We have, to be quite honest, with all transparency, we've experienced some issues of what we call sextortion with some of our students, and that is they engage with an unknown participant online, and they then dupe them into sending clandestine pictures of themselves and those kind of things. And then they try to ransom them for money by just saying they're going to disclose this information to their parents. So we try to do a good job of educating our students about not engaging in those things, not clicking on links as part of our internet safety and our cybersecurity task with our ITS unit, Internet Technology Systems. Are there areas on campus or adjacent to the campus that you would suggest kids not go alone at night? Yes. As a crime prevention practitioner, I don't encourage anyone to walk or go any spaces alone at night. Buddy system is always the best. We are in what we call the Logan neighborhood here in Spokane. The Logan neighborhood is statistically one of the most impoverished areas in the city of Spokane. It doesn't make it the most dangerous area of Spokane, but there are areas that I would not go to at night. What I would encourage your students to do, and or you as parents, is to really check with our SPD partners on their crime link, and I can Google that as I'm speaking here. And it gives you a heat map of those areas that have experienced crime, right? It might be a burglary, it might be an unoccupied burglary, it might be a car theft, it might be a robbery. What we see around our Gonzaga area in general is low-level crimes, not the nature of the violent crimes that we see around other areas that are urban campuses that are open to our public. So yes, really the key factor to that question, Rosalind, is we don't encourage any of our students to travel anywhere at night by themselves. You know, you should have a partner with you, and she's been notifying someone where you plan on going in the evening. That's just a good crime prevention practice that we would encourage. Let's see, are there filters in place, or is it currently an open network? No, Gonzaga's internet network is not an open network. There is filtering systems that are controlled by our information technology services. Again, password protected. And if a guest comes to campus, they must have a password to access that site, but they get access to an open Wi-Fi network that you'd see in a coffee shop. It doesn't get you access to the internal services of the university itself that our students would be accessing. Are there security cameras? Yes, we have over 800 cameras, surveillance cameras on our campus here, and they are monitored. We don't monitor all 800. That'd be impossible for one or two communications officers to do inside our communications, but we do monitor those cameras 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They are posted at every entrance to our academic spaces, every entrance to residence halls, and then various places throughout the residence halls. Some of which we don't disclose. Obviously, we don't have cameras in private areas. We don't have cameras inside the rooms, restrooms, etc. But we have enough cameras to cover our main interior campus, so we can investigate and interdict and prevent a lot of the issues that come up on our campus. Great question. And by the way, it's a really wonderful camera service that was actually created by a former Gonzaga graduate, so we're kind of partial to it. Can girls get escorts to go across the campus? Dwayne and Maria, is that simply based on a gender, or is it an issue about safety? We don't discriminate whether it's male or females getting safety escorts. If for any reason they don't feel safe getting across campus from one location to another, we will get that service provided to them. Is your team trained to address mental health accidents and panic attacks? Absolutely. It's our team are mandated to go through what we call assist training from one of our local partners in the community called Fail Safe for Life. You'll see I wear a suicide prevention mental health ribbon on my uniform. Most of our officers do. We use that as a conversation starter. We also are trained in mental health first aid and QPR training for any suicide ideation or suicidality. So, and we have a really great relationship with our campus partners, CCP, which is the entity that does caseworker kind of things. We refer to them also, and we also give an option for our students to have both confidential and non-confidential services. So the answer to that question is yes, and we are very sensitive to that. Our officers really, here's a really key thing about that question. We love engaging with our students, and oftentimes on escorts, we develop a really good relationship with them. So when we see a change in behavior, we can make sure we have that conversation with the student or students and then direct them to the right resources. Again, our role as campus security providers, we are not clinicians, but we know we serve as, peer counselors, mothers and fathers, friends, clergy from time to time. We want to be that resource for your student, and we are always looking for that educational touch with them. So we're not seen as an enforcement wing of the university. We are a resource partner. So yes, we are trained in that, and it's a mandatory function for our staff to go through. Can you comment on the coordination with SPD in those areas on the border of campus? Absolutely, yeah. We have a great relationship with our municipal partners, both Spokane County Sheriff's Office and our Spokane Police Department. I know the chief and the sheriff personally. I've known them for decades. And we develop a relationship that is built on a nurturing relationship. What I mean by that, my friends, is that in my world, we don't believe that emergency is the best time to start exchanging business cards. So we develop a relationship up front. So when those situations happens, we are both trained, cross-trained. There's interoperability. This term simply means that we can contact them on their radio channels. They can contact us. We can listen in on their radio channels to find out what might be going on in the surrounding areas. And we develop a really good relationship. In fact, on weekends and on extended holidays, we hire contractually Spokane police officers, Spokane County Sheriff's deputies to help patrol around the periphery of our campus, so our students can feel safe when they're walking about off campus and those kind of things, and they get a quicker response from our local law enforcement partners than they would simply by calling either Crime Check or a local number to get assistance. Is there a phone number all hours for parents to call? Yes. That number is, I'll type it in the chat here, 509-313-2222. Lock it into your phone. That is the number to campus security and public safety. That will be answered 24 hours a day. Oops, did I tag that yet? There we go. 509-313-2222. Yes, and we encourage your students also to lock that in as a number. You can call us anytime of the day. That'll get you to our communication specialist. And if there's a concern that they can't field, then they will direct that call to myself or the director, and we'll be happy to engage in that conversation. It may not be immediately. Let's say it's 2 a.m. and you're calling. We won't be there. I'll probably be home sleeping. But if it rises to the concern of you as a parent, then they know they can get a hold of me as an on-call administrator. Outstanding questions thus far. Let's see. Oh, Rave, I'll put Rave Guardian in there. Yes. Any other questions? And you're free to just hop onto the chat, not on the chat, but even on the video screen, just ask a question as well. I did mention that there's self-defense classes on campus. It's free to all of our students. Twice a month on Mondays in the evening, we encourage our students and staff to participate in those kind of things. It's not going to make them Bruce Lee by the time they get done with their 2-hour session on a Monday, but it really will increase their security awareness. And that's one of the things that we really preach on campus, right? Don't find yourself walking across campus or even across the Logan neighborhood, 2 headphones in, head into your iPhone or your Google phone, if that's your choice, and not paying attention to your surroundings. We do a good job in keeping our students safe, our faculty and staff safe, but there is a responsibility of our young men and women on our campus too to do their part in that. Again, that goes back to going to areas on our local community by themselves. So we would encourage always do that in pairs, right? It helps on the buddy system. Part of that Rave Guardian, there's called a Guardian app on there where you can set timers and coordinate with, let's say, a roommate or a friend to say, I'm going to this destination. It should take me 15 minutes to get to this destination. And you set a timer for your guardian. And when you don't turn off that timer within 15 minutes, then it sends an alert to that guardian, and they can take many options. Call campus security, call 911, call a parent, call a student, find out what's going on. And then we can start that movement to find out what is going on and why they haven't responded. Are there any types of personal protection that students can carry with them if they feel the need? Mace be an example. Yes, they can carry pepper spray and or OC spray on our campus. What I would say to you, is it Rochelle or Rachel? What I would say is, if they've never deployed that item, to really work with campus security and public safety on some training for that, because the last thing we want to do is have a student carry a device that they are not comfortable with handling, and they deploy it in an unsafe manner where they themselves become the victim of that chemical agent, or they disperse it in an area where it gets trapped into a HVAC system where then it empties the entire facility, residence hall, or academic space. So we're happy to help educate them on the proper use of that, and where they carry it matters too. If they carry it in a backpack and their backpack strapped across their back, and the subject comes from the front, it's useless to them. So we want to educate them if they're going to carry this device, make sure they have it in place where it's ready to deploy, and they've attempted to deploy that. I use a really good technique here with silly string. You remember that old silly string, or am I just too old for that? Where it was a can that would spray out the sticky stuff. It's a really good training apparatus for people who have never deployed OC or pepper spray, because if I'm using it on a target, where is that hitting on the target? If I turn a fan on, i.e. the wind is blowing, and I deploy it, then the spray is going to go in a different direction. If the wind is blowing facing me and I deploy it, the silly string falls back on Phil, and then you understand that you could really incapacitate yourself while trying to defend yourself. And that's the last thing we want someone to have happen to them. So a very good question. No firearms are allowed on campus, and nothing that would shoot out a projectile are allowed on campus. But yeah, pepper spray and or mace is allowed on our campus. Is theft ever a concern issue in campus housing? Oh boy. So, we accept wonderful students like yours. They all adhere to the Gonzaga mission and this mantra of Zags help Zags. Does theft occur in our residence halls? The answer is yes. More times than not, it's because of a guest someone had allowed into our space, and then students are not locking their rooms while they're still in the internal space, but not in their dorm room. And we advise in our safety talks, lock your doors anytime you leave your room. Yes, it's inconvenient until you get used to it. Yes, you could lock yourself out, but we are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to let you back into your room, and it provides us a great opportunity to have a conversation with you. Again, but those things occur when students leave their property unsecured, door unlocked, door ajar. They're just running down the hall to go talk to their friend. That would be the advice I would give a student as it relates to protecting their belongings. Yeah, very important. Always secure your door. If it has a lock on it, lock it. Oh, and I should say also, with regards to their belongings in the dorms, never leave the dorm rooms ajar, the entranceways, right? The front door, the back door, etc. You enter a dorm, close the door behind you. And we're not saying that if Phil knows Kendall and we're both living in a residence hall and I see Kendall walking up and she's 6 feet away to slam the door on Kendall, that wouldn't be consistent with Gonzaga's mission and our kindness. What I'm saying, if I don't know that person for personal recognition, secure the door. We issue out proximity cards to our students for a reason. They can access spaces where they're supposed to be, and citizens that are not part of our Gonzaga community cannot access those spaces. So if students leave the door ajar, put a rock in the door, I'm just running out to my car, I don't want to have to get my card out, please tell them not to do those things. It's those little things that can violate the security of others. And what I mean by that is the bad guy has to get it right once. We have to get it right every time. So please lock your doors. Please don't leave our doors ajar. Any specific advice for transfer students living in Kennedy? Well, they've got a nice apartment. I can tell them that. The advice for Kennedy is it's on the periphery of our campus. What I mean by that is it's buttressed up against a main arterial. It's called Ruby Avenue. So you'll get a lot of transient or traffic that's coming along that. It also runs along a major bus line there. The advice would be the same thing. If they're going to park their vehicles in Kennedy inside either the internal under parking or on the outskirts of the residence hall, to not leave any items inside their vehicle of value, to make sure they lock their doors. Other than that, Kennedy is a relatively safe housing area. It's a big housing area. It's one of our nicer housing areas. But if you leave your car down there and you leave it unlocked, it is going to get traffic, foot traffic in that parking lot area. So make sure they're locking their cars up and not leaving any belongings in their car. Great question, Christine. Oh, and by the way, Kennedy has a little cafe inside of it. So they have really convenient stuff down there at Kennedy. It's got its own chapel. It's got a little cafe inside of it. Yes, your student's going to be in a good position over there. Not that any other residence hall is not good. I'm not saying that. But I do like Duff's and I do like the little cafe and the chapel that they have there for our students. So it's kind of a nice place. Outstanding. Christine, can I ask where they're transferring from? Are they a veteran transfer? Are they coming from another university? Transferring from a community college? I love our transfer veterans students, as I am one myself, so I'm always partial to transfer students that are coming in. Other questions or concerns, even unique ones, let's say, okay. A small liberal arts college, okay, in Pennsylvania. Played D3 basketball. Okay, we might have a spot for her then here. Go Zags. I'm heading out to Pennsylvania in September to do a talk about mental health and mental wellness for a group of young men out there. So be my first time visiting Pennsylvania. So hopefully it goes well. All right. Is there a curfew for the park areas? Okay. There is a curfew in Riverfront Park. That's our major park downtown, which just had our 50th anniversary of the Expo World Fair down there. That is, I believe it's 11 o'clock now. There is Mission Park that's adjacent to our university on the east side. There isn't a curfew there, but I would say to that question, that's a park I wouldn't be in after hours by myself in that area there. And then just further to the east, there's Chief Gary Park, and again, there's no curfew there. But when the lights go out, different clientele occupy those spaces, right? During the daytime, there's basketball and softball and people walking and doing calisthenics and those kind of things. But, as in any urban cities, and when the lights go down, different clientele start to occupy those spaces, and I wouldn't want our students to be lingering in those spaces after hours.
Philip, what was the name of the second park that you said I wouldn't suggest being there after hours?
Chief Gary.
Chief Gary.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. What else can we answer? Like most major cities in our nation, we do experience a homeless or houseless population. We are open urban campus, but we really do a good job of really addressing those concerns when they are brought to our attention, or if we find them just in a proactive patrol. We try to offer resources to the individuals and guide them to places where they're not disrupting our students or creating angst in their working, learning, or living environment. So we really do a good job of seeing it like any other city. We're seeing a bit of an increase in the periphery of our campus, not necessarily on our campus proper, because we do a good job of being there. Our what we call natural surveillance, our students, staff, and faculty, when they see persons that cause them a little angst or stress, or their behavior is such that it's disrupting things, they're really quick to call us. They're really good about that. One thing I'll say about our student population is they really base their calls on behavior, right? One of the things we don't want to do is we don't want to really dehumanize people because they look different than we do, right? Their clothes are unkempt or these kind of things. That in itself is not a criminal act. And our students, I have to tell you this, my friends, our students are really good at not doing that. We have more issues with our staff, quite honestly, than we do our students, because our students are some caring personnel. But when they do see those behaviors with their eyes, hands, feet, or mouth that are distressing or causing issues, they call, and we encourage them to call right away as soon as they can, so we can interdict that and get that person moved off our campus location, and maybe offer them resources where they can get some help. What else? Yes, if your student's going to bring a bike to campus, please encourage them to A, register that bike with campus security and public safety, and B, get a good quality U-lock for their bike. Our GU Outdoors program here, which is a wonderful program on campus, last year they partnered with a local bike shop to offer great quality U-locks to our students for $10 each. And for comparison, my U-lock for my mountain bike is $85. So a really good deal. We're hoping to make sure that program comes up and running again this year. Our fingers are crossed that we can get the grants for that again. So make sure your students, if they're going to bring a bike to campus, check in with GU Outdoors to see if that program is still available for them this year. Okay. Office number. Put my office number in here. Oops. Yes. All right, let's see what we got here. It's curfew. Oh, thank you so much. I hope that you feel good about yourself and sending your students here. That's really what we want to do. And I hope If you had a chance, if any of them experienced our summer orientation, I hope they shared out with them. We're really trying to build a reputation with your students because we can't do our job without them having trust and faith in what we do. And we can't do our job if they don't see us as a resource for them, as opposed to, the party police or these kind of things. That's not what we're there for. Anything we should know about attending games in the kennel? Yes, it's loud. We're passionate. They should learn to dance, the Zombie Nation dance. No, but seriously, Christine, attending the kennel games. The kennel is a intimate environment where our Zag basketball teams play, both men's and women's. And what I would say about that is that's one of those events on a private university that's open to the public. So you get all kinds of participants coming to those events. But what we also get is a robust support from our local municipality. Our Spokane police officers are there in force. Our CMS, our crowd control entities are there in force, and our campus security officers are also there for those events. So we try to keep those events as pleasurable for all of our participants. We want you to be engaged. We want you to be active. We want you to be animated. We want those visitors coming to the kennel to know that this is our house, but we want you to do it in a safe way that everyone feels comfortable and everyone has an enjoyable time there. Yes, you are already part of our Gonzaga family, Angelo. Once your student is accepted, you become part of our family. And as I like to say all the time, once you're part of our family, we at Campus Security and Public Safety will do whatever it takes to keep that student safe. In the chat, I put my personal office number. Again, please feel free to call me. I'm happy to have a conversation. I'm sometimes not the easiest to get a hold of because I'm always about the campus, moving about, engaging in different conversations with our campus partners. But I will surely get a call back to you if you leave that message for me. Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you for saying that about our outreach. We really work to try to. Our mantra is this, my friends: meet us before you need us. Right? If you know me as Phil, if you know my fellow officers, let's say Kendall was on our team as Kendall, you are more apt to use us as a source and to see us as a part of your learning experience versus someone that's here to make that experience an unpleasant one. That's not what we're here for. We're here to support your students. We're here to support our Gonzaga family members. You are part of that as a family member. So you get an element of support too, meaning if you call and say, Phil, I haven't heard from Kendall in a couple days. Would you mind having an officer check on her? I will surely do that. Well, I won't do it personally, but I have an officer assigned to do that, unless you want me to do it personally. But we'll go do that for you. We've gone so far as to say, hey, let's say Julie Skinner has a child here on campus, and I just want you to pay a visit to him. I've gone and knocked on the door and left the business card with the roommate saying, hey, tell them to call campus security when they get in. And they're like, whoa, what did I do wrong? I'm like, oh, nothing. Good to meet you. Mom just wanted to check on, make sure you're doing good here on campus. Enjoy your stay. If you have any questions, give us a call. So we really want their experience to be enjoyable. I think that we do a good job of that on campus. No one's perfect, but we're always learning. This input from parents, our student family program does a really good job indoctrinating our students on what the Gonzaga community, what the Gonzaga environment is like when they spend those 3 days here in summer orientation. And we try to get in touch with them any chance we can. And so it really makes a difference in what we do. We can't do it by ourselves. And I would offer this also. Most of us come from a law enforcement or a military background, but we're here because we've done that work. What we want to do now is be engaging with these young men and women and build them up to be great adults when they leave our institution. And we're passionate about that. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. I'm not going to say anything about the salaries. Could I make more money somewhere else? Maybe I could. I don't know. But it's not as rich as the information and the opportunities I get to meet with our students on a daily basis. Is Uber a safe way to get to and from Spokane Airport? Absolutely. Yeah, Uber or Lyft, depending on which one you like. I use it all the time myself. Uber has implemented a lot of safety measures now where you get the image of the driver, you get the vehicle description and plate number, and just make sure those things are matching. Dwayne and Maria, make sure your student is really a good practitioner of safety awareness, right? If the Uber says it's a black Ford Edge Sport, and it shows up and it's a white Corvette, I wouldn't get into it. And those are kind of the practices that we talk about in our safety talks with our students. But it is a wonderful way. There is a program coming to campus this academic year, sponsored by one of our former students that's tragically lost their life in a vehicle accident. I think it's called the Eagles Project, and they're going to be offering a QR code for our students to utilize these kind of Uber driver systems to get back and forth to campus. And don't quote me on this, but I think there's going to be a no fee for that service. It's going to be the pilot here at Gonzaga this year. So looking forward to that program coming in and supplementing what we do for our safety escorts. All right, what's our time? We have about 10 minutes left. Yeah, plenty of time for more questions. Now's your chance to ask him while the students are away. Yes, is the free bus that stops on campus a suggested way to travel? Yeah, so we have a Central City line that runs from downtown up north and then back down. It runs through campus every 15 minutes up until about midnight, I recall. And it's free to our Gonzaga family members with their student ID card. It is a good way to travel. I routinely take the bus periodically. I don't take it that often because I'm always moving from different places on campus and off campus during the day. But it's a good way to travel, right? Anytime there's a disturbance on the bus drivers will stop at the next stop. They'll summon their security team. If their security team can't rectify it, they'll summon our municipal partners with Spokane Police Department. So it is a really good way of transportation. And generally speaking, you're going with other folks on there. Even if you're going by yourself, the buses are recorded. They have cameras on the buses to record the interactions of people on their buses. So public transportation here in Spokane is pretty good. They need to be increasing their bus stops, but hey, who am I to tell STA what they're supposed to be doing with their work? But when I was a young man here, I've been here for about 30 years. I would travel with my son and my daughter, one in a car seat, because we only had one car at the time, and then one on my arm, and we would go on the city bus all the time. Now I have to stop them from going on the city bus. Hey, I want to ride the bus, Dad. Come. Well, I got my car. I'm going to drive my car there. But it's a good resource, and it's free to our Gonzaga family. So I would say utilize that. Is the campus safety call number on the school website able to call 24/7? Is that the 509-313-2222? Yes, you can call that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There will always be someone to answer that phone there, always. And if you find that you've called family and you do not get a response, I want to know that because I will go back. All incoming calls are recorded, and I will find out why there was a delay in them getting back to you. Now, that doesn't mean that there might be an emergency going on. It might be put on hold for something, but then our officers are required to answer all incoming phone calls 24 hours a day. And the bus helps to meet one of our mission statements is to be good stewards of the climate. So, hey, you're reducing carbon monoxide in the air. So there you go. And the Central City line is an electric bus too. Yes, there you go. Even better. It's a beautiful bus. Checking. Is anyone on the call from Georgia? I've got to head down to Georgia here next week, and I heard it's going to be hot and humid. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Do you review emergency evacuation? Absolutely, we do. Actually, we are doing an after action report currently. We had a fire in our newest performing arts theater on the roof, not inside the building itself. One of our solar panels kind of caught on fire. quickly extinguished. No issues to the staff or students that were in there, the summer students that were in there. But we review those evacuations for fire. We're mandated to do fire drills twice a year inside our residence halls, different times of the day and night, different conditions, sun or rain. So students know where to go to evacuate, and then we know where to go to determine through our residence professionals, have all students evacuated? Are they all accounted for? Is Kendall here? You know, if she's not here, we start making phone calls to see where Kendall is. So yes, it's reviewed and practiced. You'll see them 2 times. Here's what I'd say to you, my friend. We will announce those fire drills to our students. Sometimes students opt out to not be there, but please encourage your students to be there during fire drills. That way they know where to go and where to rally. In South Carolina, and yes, it's even hotter. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll be ready for that. Any specific areas of downtown area to avoid? Spokane is a lovely city, right? 30 years ago when I got here, the population was probably 120 something thousand. It's 250,000 now, and the greater Spokane area is 500,000 overall. So we're getting to be a big metropolis. Would there be areas that I would avoid downtown? But there's areas, around 2nd and Pacific right now that really has not done well for our community. So I would not engage in that area downtown there. Any areas, that are in and around or under train trestles where we see some of our houseless population occupying space, I wouldn't linger there. But Spokane's a city where if you are looking for bad, you could find it. But in general, people don't experience that. I've had many people that said they've never experienced anything negative in Spokane because they go to spaces and places where there's many people around. There's natural surveillance. There's the Kendall Yards. There's the Spokane River. There's beautiful places, arts and exhibits. So I wouldn't single out a singular place, but I would say around that 1st and Pacific area, Brown. No, I wouldn't venture down there any time of the day. Be quite honest. Other emergencies like active shooter drills, absolutely. I am one of the trainers for active shooter drills on campus. One of the things we like to do with our active shooter drills is make it specific to our clientele, right? We don't use simunitions, which is a term we use in the military. We don't use false weapons. We don't use costumes. We don't try to create angst in our students or our staff. We try to create an environment where they know what to do other than freezing in those situations. So those active shooter drills are done on request. It's not a mandated function yet. But we are really working to have a university and our human resources department understand that sadly in the times that we are in, it is really best to have that training for our students, staff, and faculty to prepare for if that were to happen on our campus so they can be best to mitigate any loss of life. So those drills do a cap. We do bomb threat drills. We do in active shooter drills, shelter in place drills. We are lucky enough. I mean, we do have volcanoes. Obviously, you've heard of St. Helens years ago. But really, we train for sheltering in place, whether it's conditions from the air, whether it's a winter weather emergency, whether it's an active shooter bomb threat. We do have training for those, and we'll provide those as a response to our student population, our staff and population, until it becomes a mandatory thing. Is this train station in a safe area in Spokane? So the train station and the Greyhound station are probably in the same area of Spokane. Are they safe? They are safe to go to your destination, get on your ride and go. I wouldn't linger in those spaces. Very good question. The issue with the train station and the Greyhound bus station is it's fairly adjacent to one of our missions or houses of charity that provide space for those that are transitory in our city that may be unhoused. That doesn't make them a bad or negative population, but we do see a higher percentage of drug use, open drug use in those spaces around those areas. So if you're going there for a destination to get on your train and leave, get on your thing and leave, I wouldn't linger in the area. But very good question, Dwayne, Maria. And did I miss over? Let me see if I missed over when I thought there was one I might have missed. Let me go back up here. Nope. Great questions. I love it. the more we can educate, our parents and family, the better our students will be coming into our campus in August, right? It's easier for them to hear it from you than it is from me, but if we double up, if you tell them the same thing and I tell them the same thing when they come to campus and their partners do, maybe it'll resonate with them ultimately. And that's the goal, right? Again, if we do this in concert, we have better success rates. At least I know when I was a child, I was like, I don't want to hear from my parents because they're telling me this all the time. But then another professional tells me, okay, even though the message is the same, then I start to hear it. Let's see what else. Good conversations. I love it. You have my number. You have the campus security and public safety number, and that's at 509 313 2222. And it's important that you have that area code as to your students because carriers are now requiring you to put that area code in there. And the last thing we want them to do is just put the 333-222 and not have the area code because they may not be from Spokane. So make sure they put the whole number in their phone. Make sure you put the whole number in your phone so you can reach out to us whenever you need us. You've seen our website. My email is on that website link too, as is our director. And my director is we're one and the same. I mean, I'm taller than she is, and I'm not tall, but we have the same mindset. We have the same care and compassion for our students. We have the same empathy for our students, and we are here coming from municipalities for a reason because we want all of our touches with our students to be an educational touch. We're always concerned about their mental health and their safety. I sit on the board of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's a thing that's near and dear to me, as losing a child myself to suicide and those kind of things. So I'm always going to have empathy and compassion for our students in a way that others may not. And we instill that in all of our officers that are employed here. So. All right, 3 minutes and counting, my friends. Upcoming webinars. Oh, yeah, that's you. Where's the question like, what's the weirdest call you went on, Phil? And I'd say, hey, I subdued a hawk in one of our academic buildings 2 years ago. So yes, officers go to animal control calls too. We're not skilled at it. I was terrified, but I made the national news. So there you go. Hey. And the hawk made it out safely. The pigeon he was chasing, not so much.
Anybody get that on video?
Yes, they did, Lisa. Not my shaking hands, but they got the incident. You would be surprised how big those talons are when you're up close. That's all I can say to that, yes. So great, wonderful, wonderful questions, my friends. I hope, again, I wanted this to be an organic conversation. I wanted you to know Phil and campus security for who we are, right? I'm not Officer Tyler, but I wanted you to know me as Phil and a caring, compassionate individual that really wants your student experience to be a wonderful experience here at Gonzaga. I hope that's what Kendall's getting, right, Kendall? Yeah, absolutely. So, and I hope you feel that way. And anytime you don't, anytime you feel that you're not getting the service or your student is not getting the service, please give myself or the director a call. We're happy to engage in a conversation with you and hope to rectify any of those things that might be going sideways at the time. Thank you all. Yes. And I assume you'll be here on opening day. If you see me around campus, please say hello, right? I'm always going to be out and about. I love coffee and donuts. It's not a stereotype. I'm happy to buy. We can just sit down and have a conversation. You can ask those other questions that you need to know. Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thank you, Phil, for answering all those questions, being here. And then
Absolutely.
thank you, everybody, for attending and for submitting those questions. Just a really quick overview of what's to come in the next month or so. We have 3 more sessions, one from the Center for Student Academic Success on August 8th, Center for Student Involvement on August 13th, and then Health and Wellbeing on August 15th. And all sessions will be at 6 p.m. Feel free to connect with us in the meantime. We're on Instagram at Gonzaga Families and Zag First Year, and then you can email us at nsfp@gonzaga.edu or find more info on our page on the Gonzaga website. So thank you everybody for joining. Reach out to either of us if you ever need anything, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, Phil and Kendall.
You're very welcome. You guys have a great day.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, my friend. I think that was successful.
I think so too.